Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Upgrades. I'm Jeremy Knoll.
And I'm John Suarez.
And today we are upgrading the Doctor Who deck, Masters of Evil. So, the other three Doctor Who decks are the different doctors in the couple of different phases of time. So, they're all about the doctors. This is all about the bad guys, and I'm pretty excited about this one too. There's some really cool cards in this. This one is headed up by Davros Dalek Creator, and it is 1 blue, black, red, 3/4 legendary artifact creature, alien scientist, has menace, and at the beginning of your end step, create a 3/3 black Dalek artifact creature token with menace if an opponent lost 3 or more life this turn. Then each opponent who lost 3 or more life this turn faces a villainous choice. You draw a card, or that player discards a card.
Villainous choice, just for clarity, that is where it is Will of the Council style, right? We're all voting.
Just voting.
Got it.
Well, no. They face it.
Just them.
Just them. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Not me.
They have a choice, but it's it's not. Yeah, it's not a. It's not a.
I don't get the vote.
No,
Just
you don't get the
the three
vote.
of
They
them.
get a choice, but they get one of the bad choices. I'm trying to remember the painful quandaries. Or no, not that one. It's they discard a card or lose 5 life or something like that.
Yeah, it's a Punisher effect.
Yeah, Punisher effect. Yes.
Yeah. All right, and then the secondary commander, because this doesn't have a companion the way that the Doctor decks
the
do.
doctors obviously all have
Of
companions.
course.
So
This one has Missy, 3 colors, blue, black, red, 4/5, Time Lord Rogue. Whenever another non-artifact creature dies, return it to the battlefield under your control, face down, tapped. And it's a 2/2 Cyberman artifact creature. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent faces a villainous choice. Each artifact creature you control deals 1 damage to that opponent, or you draw a card and chaos ensues.
yeah, this one's super sweet.
My favorite part of Doctor Who is the Golden Age Iron Mans. I'm a big fan. Big fan of Cybermen.
The Cybermen.
I don't know
Yeah.
anything about it, but I absolutely love Cybermen.
Yeah. So we are going to be going over a few cards that are from new in the deck. There are 50 new cards in each of these decks. This one has 50 new cards, obviously a lot of really cool villain cards. And then we're going to give you 5 cards that we would suggest adding to the deck that are around the $5 and under budget, and 5 cards that we would suggest taking out of the deck. So one of the cool things with Missy is that there is a villain throughout the history of the series called the Master, and spoiler alert, you find out that Missy is a reincarnation of the Master in female form. So there are a bunch of different Masters in this deck, though.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so the first new card that we are going to go over is the Master Multiplied, which is one of the new Masters. So it's 4 red and black legendary creature, Time Lord Rogue, 4/3 Myriad. The legend rule doesn't apply to creature tokens you control, and triggered abilities you control can't cause you to sacrifice or exile creature tokens you control.
So, attack, get 2. Next turn, attack, get.
Yes.
Okay. That's a lot.
A lot of cool stuff. Well, I don't know if that works, but yeah, it's triggered abilities just keeps going. Yeah, they just go.
Because Myriad specifically says at the end of combat,
At the end of combat,
it's a trigger.
it's a trigger. So you don't sacrifice it. It's not exiled, right?
No, they exile them.
Yeah. So yeah, it just
Can't sacrifice or exile.
yep.
And it says to exile them.
Yeah, so this one's one of the Masters. There are a couple different Masters in the deck. But yeah, that's just an exciting card.
Yeah, that card's real good.
The next one, you said you really liked.
Yes, I love these.
Cybermen.
God, these Cybermen are awesome. The Cyber Controller. X blue black. It's a 3/3 legendary artifact creature Cyberman. Whenever it enters the battlefield, each opponent mills X cards. Put all creature cards milled this way onto the battlefield face down under your control. And they are 2/2 Cyberman artifact creatures, and other artifact creatures you control get +1/+1. This card's sweet. Yeah. That card
This
is
card's
awesome.
very cool. It just takes all of them, turns them into Cybermen, which is very, very on theme.
Yeah.
I really like this one. I could see you building a deck around this one
Yeah, I'm a fan.
specifically.
I'm a fan.
The next one is the Veilyard, which is 2 blue, black, red, legendary creature, Time Lord Noble, 4/5. If an opponent would face a villainous choice, they face that choice an additional time. While voting, you may vote an additional time. So, yeah, this one's a lot more of the politic because then you get the will of the council in there. They still have to do the villainous choice twice.
And then you get to control the will because you get multiple
Yeah,
votes.
because
I
you
like
get
it.
multiple
Okay.
choices. This one is interesting. The Veilyard is a version of the Doctor, I believe, that after they did, like, there's Doctor Who has a lot of rules that are very, this is a thing up until we decide it's no longer a thing, and the rule of Doctor Who is whatever's happening in the current episode is what's really the rules.
So it's magic.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It doesn't work unless the card says
yeah,
so.
like there's a certain amount of regenerations. The Veil Yard was like supposed to be between a couple of regenerations or something, and he was the evil one who was going to be like, nope, you're done. But then something happened. There's more Doctors.
All right, the next one I'm going to do is, because this is the only episode of Doctor Who I've watched, Blink. 2 colors, blue-black, saga. Choose target creature. Its owner shuffles that into their library and then investigates. I like it. That's chapters 1. Then chapter 2 is create a 2/2 black alien angel artifact creature token with first strike vigilance, and whenever an opponent casts a creature spell, this permanent isn't a creature until end of turn. And then chapter 3 is back to chapter 1. And then chapter 4 is back to chapter 2. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. This one's super sweet. This is probably one of the most famous episodes of Doctor Who, and it is the one that a lot of people will suggest that people who've never watched Doctor Who watch for the first time.
I watched it.
And yeah, it's really interesting. There's the Weeping Angels are around. If you aren't looking at, they're like a temporally trapped aliens. So if you're looking at them, they're frozen as statues. And if you don't look at them, then they can move around and they tend to jump scare.
So who came first, Boo or Weeping Angels?
It's right. It's very much what it feels like. And I really love the flavor of this one. They really nailed that episode with that. And it's just like, Gavin did explain that obviously there is already an effect that a lot of people refer to as Blink, which is exile a creature, it comes back right away. But that doesn't really work with how the Weeping Angels work. So they did something a little bit different, which is that it goes shuffled back into the library. So it just disappears.
Yeah.
And then when it's not that, it turns into the alien artifact creature token. And that's just such a cool thing. The last one that we're going to look at is Rassilon, the War President, 3 blue, black, 3/4 legendary creature Time Lord Noble. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 2 life and exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. And each non-creature spell you cast from exile has Conspire, which, if you can't remember, if Conspire is, as you cast a spell, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control that share a color with it. When you do, copy it, and you may choose new targets for the copy. So you can cast it again. Rassilon, I also wanted to pick this one because in the TV show, Rassilon is played by Timothy Dalton.
Okay.
So we have a character, an actor who has played James Bond that is now officially on a Magic the Gathering card. So I love that a lot.
All right, so cards that we're going to add. The first card, this one was fairly easy. So when I looked at this deck, obviously you want to be able to deal 3 damage to your opponents.
Yes.
So that you can trigger your Davros. So first card is Loyal Subordinate. 2 colors and a black, 3/1 zombie. I also went and looked at the other decks to see if zombies were a thing in Doctor Who. Found a zombie, so I felt comfortable adding it. 3/1 Menace. It has Lieutenant. At the beginning of combat in your turn, if you control your commander, each opponent loses 3 life. It's a real easy way of triggering your ability. Just be there.
Yeah, there's a couple different ones that you can do with like that. I think this one is probably a good example, a great example of it that is very cheaply costed. Next one is Delayed Blast Fireball. This is a colorless red instant. Delayed Blast Fireball deals 2 damage to each opponent and each creature they control. If the spell was cast from exile, it deals 5 damage to each opponent and each creature they control instead, and it has Foretell for red.
I didn't want to put this in the deck for 2 reasons.
It's
One,
a D&D
it's
card.
Slightly above $5.
Oh,
it's
sure.
like 6. And 2, it's a D&D card.
It is a
but
D&D
it is
card.
so good in what you're trying to do with this deck that it seems hard to not put in here.
Oh, I love this one.
The next card I have is a new card from Wilds of Eldraine. This is Rankle's Prank. 2 colors, black, sorcery. Choose 1 or more. Each player discards 2 cards. Each player loses 4 life, or each player sacrifices 2 creatures.
So yeah, you're making it a little bit more of a politics deck, and it obviously isn't like a will of the council thing or like a villainous choice.
Talk about it.
But yeah, it's good because it's also what would you like to do? You know,
we're all going to lose 4 life.
You're all
so
going to lose 4 life.
triggers.
Yeah, and then we're going to make everybody sacrifice 2, and my sacrifice is probably going to come back and do other stuff because I'm in a villains deck. So why wouldn't I do that? The next one we've got is Blade of Selves, which is 2 mana artifact equipment. Equip creature has Myriad. Equip 4. Very easy. It's going to be great with like
definitely be great with the Master Multiply.
Yeah, the Master Multiply. It's going to be great with a lot of your different cards, but yeah, being able to get more triggers on stuff, being able to do like more stuff with Missy, being able to it's just going to have lots of really cool stuff.
You can create some Cybermen, you can create some Daleks.
Yeah, some Daleks. You can make another copy of the Veil Yard so that even more choices have to get made. Like, I think that's a really good addition. So,
and then we have Lithoform Engine. 4 colorless legendary artifact. You can pay 2, tap it, copy an activated or triggered ability you control. Great with Davros. Pay 3, tap it, copy an instant or sorcery you control and choose new targets for it. Or pay 4 and copy target permanent spell you control. This is fairly cheap, surprisingly. I was actually surprised at how cheap Lithoform Engine is these days, because that card started off pretty high. Now it's like $2, $3. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can get like just a bunch of really cool stuff going on with that.
I mean, you could trigger your Davros' ability. You could just copy it.
Yeah. All right, so some cards that we would suggest taking out of the deck, and this one, again, like we've talked about in the other videos, this one is a little bit difficult because there are 50 new cards in each of these decks, so we don't know how they play. All the cards that are reprints are pretty established, so those ones are a little harder to really say like, oh yeah, this is an easy takeout or anything. So these are ones we would suggest taking out. Obviously, try them out first, see how you like them. If they do what you want them to do, keep them in. But these are ones we would suggest taking out. First one is Ensnared by the Mara. It's a sorcery for 2 red. And it says each opponent faces a villainous choice. They exile cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. Then you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Or that player exiles the top 4 cards of their library, and Ensnared by the Mara deals damage equal to the total mana value of those exiled cards to that player.
Yeah.
So they get to choose which one it is.
Punisher card.
Yeah, it is a Punisher card.
They're going to choose that last one every time.
Yeah, they're going to choose the second one.
Yeah, they're not letting me cast the card for free. Absolutely not.
No. So it's, yeah, this one is a little bit more on the browbeat side of things, where it's like, you're always going to choose the one that I don't want you to choose. Every time.
Yep.
So
the next card we have is Hunted by the Family. This art creeps me out. Just putting that out there. Don't like the red balloon. 5 colors, blue, sorcery. Choose up to 4 target creatures you don't control. For each of them, that creature's controller faces a villainous choice. That creature becomes a 1/1 white human creature and loses all ability, or you create a token that's a copy of it. Again, 7's a lot.
it is a lot.
So another
for
Punisher
sorcery.
card where you get to choose what I'm doing with it. Likely just going to make your thing a 1/1. You're not going to give me a copy of it, most likely.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's, yeah, again, a 7 mana. Like, I could see this in like a Cascade-ish deck, maybe, but again, it's a Punisher card.
Yeah.
Those are always kind of difficult, so usually want to tend to take those ones out. Next one is the Toymaker's Trap. Yeah.
I love guessing cards, but this is just, there's no upside here. I just don't understand this card.
It's 2 and a black enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, secretly choose a number between 1 and 5 that hasn't been chosen. If you do, an opponent guesses which number you chose. Then you reveal the number you chose. If they guessed wrong, they lose life equal to the number they guessed, and you draw a card. If they guessed right, sacrifice the Toymaker's Trap. So it's, you're gonna get like maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah.
If you're real lucky, you're gonna get the 4 out of it that before they guess the last number. But yeah, it's just a fun, silly card.
It's a silly card. The art's great.
Yeah.
It looks like it should have a silver border or an acorn on it.
It really does.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump over to this one because I've been told that this is like the big bad of the Doctor Who realm.
This is one of them,
Or one of them. The Beast, Deathless Prince. 2 colors, black-red, 6/6 legendary creature demon. When you cast the spell, you gain control of target creature until end of turn and untap it. Gains menace and haste until end of turn. But the Beast itself enters the battlefield tapped with 6 stun counters. 6 stun counters. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to its owner, untap the Beast and draw a card. So, yeah. I like the threaten effect when you cast, so it's not going to be counterable. I like that effect. That's awesome.
This is going to make a really good threaten commander.
If I was able to untap it, which I'm not, because it has 6 counters on it, so it's just never going to untap forever.
It's going to take a long time, but you get to untap it with that other ability.
Nope, you just get to remove a stun counter.
Well, whenever creature, remove.
I said the same thing. I was like, oh, this card's sweet because you get to untap it at least once.
No, you're right.
You just put 5 counters now.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
No, this says whenever a creature deals combat damage to its owner, untap the beast and draw a card.
Yep.
So
But if you would untap the beast, you remove a stuff counter instead.
Thank you.
That's
Yes.
where I was at. I was like, oh, this card's awesome.
So it gets to untap
faster, but it's still, you're not untapping
Thank you
anytime
for that
soon.
clarification.
Yeah.
Did not read the whole thing and understand it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Satan.
Yeah.
From the show.
Yeah,
This is, I believe
okay.
the episode is just called The Satan Pit or something along those lines. But yeah, it's one of the big bads. It's definitely
sweet.
big. So the
Everything
art is
about
sweet.
it's cool. It's just funny that we've come from where we were in 1993 to this.
Yeah.
The game has changed a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, this one's really cool. I could definitely see this being its own commander.
I'm sure there's something.
And be fun. But yeah, for the most part, you're not going to want to play
You're probably going to cast it from the command zone, get its effect, sacrifice it, put it back in the command zone, and keep trying to do that.
Keep doing that over and over again, something like that. Yeah, so those are the cards that we would suggest taking out. Obviously, as we said, let us know what cards you would add into the deck and which cards you would take out of this deck. I think the Villains deck is really sweet. I'm excited.
Really cool.
I want to try it out a lot. Let us know what other cards you would add and subtract to the deck. Also, make sure to like, share, subscribe, binge, and watch the other episodes from our Doctor Who Upgrades video on this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.